But I would throw South Florida and Oklahoma actually in the same category, that they are really the crazy person in your town. They're the guy that needs medication. They're the crazy person that everybody's got an opinion on them.
And everybody knows their name but doesn't know the backstory.
You're not exactly sure what they are or what's going to happen, but you absolutely don't want to be locked in a closet with them. Hello and welcome to the Fat Jack Sports Hour. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm your host, the Fat Jack. The weekend is here. It's NFL Week 2, college football in full swing. Starting to figure out who some of these teams are, who they're not, who's good, who's not. I mean, we're having to figure it all out here in the month of September. My clients and I are figuring out that if you sign up, you win. I mean, that's really the lesson of September and August so far, is that if you sign up and you do what you're supposed to do, you win. Betting on sports, it's not even close. We'll get into that and much, much more. Let me bring in my co-host from Louisville, Kentucky, and we'll get this show underway because, gosh, so much to talk about from last week and going forward. Mr. Brandon Rush. Brandon, how are you, buddy?
I am swell. This is a fun weekend because, like you said, we're finding out about teams and who we thought they were. And we get that sort of confirmation of, maybe this team's a little better than we thought. But I think coming out of the first weekend of the NFL, at least for me, there was a lot of confirmation about, yes, I know exactly who this team is.
Yeah, the NFL is a different animal. We'll talk. I want to start in college because but you're exactly right. NFL, some of the teams, we know exactly what they are. It seems same story, different year. Even good or bad or in the middle. I mean, even some of the ones that were deficient last year through 1 week looks like they're a little deficient. We'll talk about how to handle that from a gambling perspective going forward and how we can make money based on what we saw in week 1. But college, I want to start there because college football, the variance in college football is super exciting. And it's really exciting when you're winning. It's great. I mean, I'm loving the variance when you win. If you're not winning, I'm sorry, because it's going to be difficult to get on track. If you don't know what you're doing, it's really a difficult year because as these players get better, some of the teams are going to show up and perform much better. We saw in week 2, some of the teams drop back based on fatigue and injury and just week 2 letdown situation. Florida obviously comes to mind, and some others. By the way, if you signed up at fatjacksports.com before the year, you got South Florida over the win total, which I think was 5.5 or 6 on the year. You got South Florida. You shouldn't be surprised. And we didn't release South Florida this last week in our 6-0 Saturday, but we did. I gave you that. I gave you South Florida versus Boise in week 1. They won. Now they're 2-0. They're going to fly over their win total. So you shouldn't be totally surprised about some of the things happening if you're a client. If you're not a client, you're probably going, I didn't know that was going to. No kidding. No kidding. You didn't know it was going to happen because you have a job. You're working all day long doing something else when I'm doing this. So South Florida wins. What is Florida? Alabama, obviously better against a bad team. Oklahoma beats Michigan. What are both of those teams? Do you write Michigan off after a freshman quarterback comes into Norman and struggles, as most do? Do you love Oklahoma, even though there was very little offensive threat in that game? And once they get into the SEC, so many different storylines. Let me go over last week real quick, get some people signed up, and then we will get into all these stories, all these things, and much more. FatJackSports.com last week, and really, really incredibly good week. One on Monday, one on Thursday. We lost, and this was an average week, Brandon, as far as how things go. Now, it was above average week, 5 or 6 games of profit in a week. So we do 50 to 70 games of profit over the course of a football season. So anytime you're doing more than 3 games of profit in a week, there's 6 months of football. You're doing something well, right? I mean, you can do simple math. If you got 5 months of football, 5.5 months or whatever, and you're going to do 50 games of profit a year. By the way, for a $100 player new to math, that's over $5,000, right at $5,000 worth of profit. You pay the service fee for $2,000. You make $3,000 to bet on sports, and that's just football. It's not basketball, not soccer, not UFC. Soccer made 100 games last year alone. So, we're just talking about football. If you're making more than 2.5 or 3 games a week, that's a good week. Now we'll have some 12-2 weeks this year, which are great weeks. This last week was pretty average as how things went, with a couple of extremely positive situations that made for a really nice week. So we win Monday, with TCU. So we going back a week or so. Win Thursday with Dallas plus the points. We lose by half a point in the game down in Brazil between Kansas City and the Chargers. Totals 47.5. We have under. It goes to 48. We lose that by half points. Now we're 2-1 going into the weekend. Saturday, a 6-0 sweeper. We sweep the board. Now, some of you might have gotten a bad line here and there, but I really blame that on you. I don't want to blame the client, but when I send stuff out on Wednesdays, Brandon, I'm doing that for a reason. You got to take a little bit of responsibility. By the way, I can kind of tongue-in-cheek this or joke or place blame, whatever you gaslight, as the kids would say. I can do a little of that because we had such a good week. If we had lost or we broke even, I'd be like, I wouldn't say that. But it is the truth, and there's a lesson going forward. If you're a client and if you're not, get signed up for the year. You pay a lot less for the picks. They cost so much less when you sign up long term. But more importantly, when we have games ready, they go out. So you got both of the close ones on Wednesday of last week, giving you all the way, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all the way into Saturday to get the best line. We have Texas Tech was a close one. We'll talk about all of it. Texas Tech was a close one. They're given 47.5 was the closing number, actually down to 47 in a lot of spots. They were up 48 to nothing at half. They put in the fifth team. Fifth team gives up a couple of scores late. They then score because nobody was stopping them. So they end up winning by 48. So as long as you were fiscally responsible with the line, looked at it a little bit, you got 47.5 or 47. The other one was Syracuse, which is absolutely a lucky play. And we're going to have some lucky plays. And I already just mentioned a half-point loss in the Thursday night game. And the reality is, of our 4 losses last week, 2 of them were by half a point. Pittsburgh on Sunday was half a point. Oh. That was half a point.
With so many missed kicks.
So, yeah, I mean, you're going to have some luck. You're going to have some bad luck. So I'm not going to, beat myself up for getting good luck anymore. I'm going to beat myself up for having some bad luck because there is luck involved in sports gambling. Now, what I will say every week on this show is that luck evens out. You're going to have some bad luck. You're going to have some good luck. If you're relying on good or bad luck, that's your problem. You shouldn't be doing that because think of the other plays. We had Texas Tech. We had Oregon minus 28.5. They won 69-3 over Oklahoma State.
Oregon minus 50. I probably still would have played it going in blindly, but man, that was didn't have to sweat that one at all.
And by the way, we'll talk about later, but who loses their job first, the head coach of Miami Dolphins or Mike Gundy? I mean, I don't know. I think Mike Gundy has naked photos of somebody at OSU, so it probably keeps his job a little longer. But both those coaches are on the clock. If there's anybody on the clock in the country, it's those two. So they win by 50, 60, whatever. The total in the West Virginia-Ohio game.
They could play again and still not get to the original total of both those games combined.
27 points. Total was 61. It's a 30-point win, 30-plus point win. That was our top play. So if you sign up for the top play of the day, that's the one you got. So that was the top play of the day, which I do not recommend doing. You should not get the top play. That's really stupid. You're paying $35 for one play. You get the whole card for $99 or $129, whatever it is. Give yourself a chance to win. So they win by more than 30. Nebraska is another one of our plays. They're given 34. They win 69-0. Nebraska does. So those are monster. You don't have to watch. Saturday, I was looking for something to sweat, something to worry about. Because Saturday, there's always a little something. I had to go all the way to the elite stuff, which are lower-rated stuff for high-end guys that are betting a ton of games, a ton of volume, to find a spot where I could at least sweat some stuff out because there was nothing sweatable. Both those close games on Saturday were early. So by 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm like, okay, now what? I look up. Oregon's up 1,000 on the 230 kick Central. The other ones are winning east. So we sweep the board 6-0 on Saturday. Sunday, we lost. So we're going to lose. Handicapper, gamblers, everybody loses. As I said, we had Las Vegas plus 3. They won straight up. We had Pittsburgh minus 2.5. They won by 2 after missing a bunch of stuff. So we're that pick away from actually making a half unit because Pittsburgh was a selection. And then we lose 2 games, lost a bad total on the Carolina game, and we lost with the Giants plus 6. They had a chance late. Yeah, Brandon.
And in the Carolina Jacksonville game, if there wasn't an hour and 20-minute rain delay, that one might have gone over. We never know. But we saw on the Thursday night game with Eagles Cowboys, they had 41 points in the first half of that game. It was 21-20 at the half. They had an hour weather delay. They come back out, they score 3 points in the final 25 minutes of that game. So I think that's twice now that we've seen where these lengthy weather delays that you're going to get this time of year because of severe weather, because of, crazy lightning stuff. Yeah. That's a potential bet killer because teams come out maybe a little less motivated. You got to go through the whole warm-up process again. So yeah, you talk about luck. That's something we could not have foreseen coming.
Yeah, there's no question in the world that lightning delays hurt offense. It's not even close. So if you had the under in that game or any game, you can't even throw the Dallas game in that or whatever because it was so close. You're like, gosh, they're going to get over. If you had over in that, I mean, which was the worst beat of the week? The total in the Dallas-Philly game or Baltimore on Sunday night? Or on Sunday night. I mean,
boy, Baltimore's going to have nightmares about that game for a while.
Wow.
But I would say probably Baltimore because I'll be honest. I went to bed with Baltimore up 15. Like, okay, we're done here. Like, even though I know Buffalo is a good team.
And by the way, we didn't have it. You and I, the service did not have it. This was Brandon
Correct.
betting with Brandon Betts or whatever. Brandon sweating the late night cool game that's on for everybody. We didn't have it. I didn't care, but I was watching it, just shaking my head. Like, wow! I imagine having Baltimore. There was a guy out there at Baltimore for $800K.
I guarantee it.
You know, he was. Sean Perry or something. He's a big gambler, degenerate dude. He had him for $800,000 and was sick to his stomach. So nobody feels sorry for him though. He's not that type of guy. But anyway, it's a toss-up. Both of those are bad. If you had over in the Cowboy, how do you not get? They're going up and down the field. They take a break. Now they come back. There's no scoring. That one and then last night you get Henry fumbling. I mean, my gosh, he doesn't fumble. They were doing everything right. Just enough went wrong for them to lose. Yeah, from a side standpoint, that one will sting a little bit. But one of those weeks, you're going to have that every week in the NFL. They're going to be close. So I actually got an email today. So what happened on Sunday?
Did you not pay attention to the 6-0 Saturday?
I don't even know. I don't even know. Why is he emailing me, by the way? There's a customer service portal that he's going to get a much more polite response. There's no way I don't end that with, if you don't think there's going to be losses in sports gambling, go play golf. There's just no way I don't say that. I don't know if I don't know. He can check the results tab. He didn't have to be a client. He can just check the results.
Right.
But if you want a constructive response to a stupid question, don't email me. Email Brandon. There's no chance you're going to get a constructive response to a stupid question if you email. Yeah, ever. Not even on Monday morning when I'm doing other things, ever. Sports gambling, there are going to be some losses. Get your head out of your you-know-what. I didn't say that. I wanted to, but I didn't. FatJackSports.com. If all these sound like problems you'd like to have after the general public went out and again got their teeth kicked in, Brandon. Saturday, most bet games. Illinois was a winner. Congratulations. Iowa State, Ole Miss. By the way, another bad beat with Ole Miss.
Yep.
Gotta love Lane Kiffin.
Lane Kiffin even brought it up in postgame. Yeah.
Dude's a king. I'm telling. I know you hate him. He's one.
No. I've come around. There was once upon a time I was ready to just fire Lane Kiffin into the sun. I fully appreciate what that man does now.
We talk about coaches that might like to. I don't drink, but if I go have a beer with.
Yeah.
Lane Kiffin's on that list. He's almost Mike Leach.
He's a dude I would love to hang out with. I would not have wanted to play for.
Be tough to play for, but I will tell you, I love a guy that acknowledges exactly what everybody's, even if you don't bet.
Talks about the elephant in the room.
I mean, they gave up one play late. You know what I mean? 9.5. For those you don't know, Kentucky at home, Mark Stoops. By the way, if you listen to us in Louisville around the country where I go on, I gave everybody Kentucky plus the points. Very lucky to get there. And I said that because Mark Stoops uglies things up. He does just enough to stay close in spots like that. I did not foresee them being down double digits and then basically Ole Miss giving up one play with no time. And then, by the way, Kentucky doing exactly what they're supposed to do. People will say, well, that has nothing to do with the line. You're down 2 scores. You've got to kick the field goal, try the onside, throw a Hail Mary. That is what you do. Unlike the Baltimore, I know I'm jumping around. This is my ADD taking over, whatever I've got. Baltimore and Buffalo going for 2, down 9. What is that? I don't get that, Brandon. I do not get that.
I'm shocked that it's 2025. We still have professional coaches who don't know when to take timeouts, who don't know when to go for 2, and just sometimes general, like the Washington Giants. You draft Cam Scatabo, a bruising running back. You get 1st and goal, and you put him in the game, and then you throw 3 times with Russell Wilson. Like, I don't understand how some people get to such high places in their profession and then just vomit on themselves.
Nor do I. And then you know that Buffalo has guys that have gone through the analytics, and I would love for somebody to explain to me how, with 12 minutes to go, when you're down, and I don't care, I didn't have a dime on the game. When you're down 9 and you score a touchdown to go down 9, you go for 2. That makes no sense.
The timing of it was probably the worst part, but yeah, the decision to go for 2 period is even more
makes no sense. Now you're still down 2 scores. Well, it makes
sure.
How many possessions you going to get?
Anytime you have a chance to take a 2-possession game and make it a 2-possession game, I guess you have to do it.
It makes no sense. I would love that for that to come up, and it probably won't because they ended up winning. But anyway, I don't know. I digress. Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin says, and sorry to the gamblers out there, and he's right. I mean, everything happened like it was supposed to, but that's a bad beat with Ole Miss. And that's one of the most bet games of the week. So Illinois winner, Iowa State loser, Ole Miss loser, Michigan loser, Texas loser. Through 2 weeks, Brandon, last 2 weeks, the most bet games, these are the $50 guys, 1 and 9. 1 and 9 against the spread. That is squeezing your bankroll. That is not going well. So, all right, well, I'll make up for it on Sunday. No problem. Will you? Because this is what happened Sunday. Most bet games: Pittsburgh, Arizona, the Giants, Denver, and Detroit.
That sounds like a 1 and 4.
That's a 1 and 4, Brandon. So nobody's.
So you back up a 1 and 5 with a 1 and 4. So guess what you didn't do on Sunday? You didn't make it back.
You didn't go to FatJackSports.com and get signed up for the week and go 9 and 4 and 6 and 0 on Saturday. Win Monday, win Thursday, half-point loser Friday. Everybody building profit. I talked about this for 3 weeks now, or for how long this show's been on this year. Build profit, build momentum. Don't go 1 and 9. And then don't back that up with a 1 and 4. Those are the guys that are going to sign up this week. Those are also the guys that will email me with what happened on Sunday. Don't be that guy. You're making yourself look like an idiot, and you're making me mad. And there's no reason to do that when I'm literally building. We were 13 and 2 Saturdays ago across all picks. 3 Saturdays ago. 2 weeks ago we won again. 7 and 3 over the weekend. This last week, 9 and 4. Everybody's building profit. Be that guy. FatJackSports.com. $3.99 all the football through the end of the month. $5.99 adds soccer, adds UFC, adds the NFL player, all of it for $5.99 through September 30th, or save even more money going longer. Guys, come on. Stop guessing, start winning. All right, so what jumped out? Let's talk about quickly how we got a couple minutes, right?
Oh, yeah, we
need a couple of minutes because there's so much to get to. We've got to nothing. Let's look at Oklahoma, Michigan. Brandon, what are your thoughts?
Confirmed what I thought about these teams. Michigan is going to be limited offensively because even though they have, I think Underwood's going to be a fantastic quarterback in time, he doesn't have anyone to throw the ball to. Their best pass catcher out of the lineup, so that limited them immensely. And Oklahoma's decent. I think they're going to beat the bad teams, struggle against good teams. We're going to see them again this weekend against Temple, a game I'm going to. They're going to win by 40, and there's going to be people in Norman who want to hang a banner. And it's a little premature because we still haven't seen Oklahoma play a good offensive team yet.
So 2 things about that. I would be careful about playing OU minus 40 or anything like that because Brent Venables doesn't care about covering numbers. They're going to be on the road. He's one of those.
He's the anti-lane.
Honestly, it's one of those take a deep breath spots. You got to travel, got to stay. All the things that go with travel.
First road game of the year, all that stuff.
So expect backups. If they're up 24 going into the 4th, expect very few starters. John Mateer, if I'm an OU fan, 2 things about John Mateer. He is the real deal. This guy's got a cannon of an arm. Really good. I think he's going to be a really good pro, actually. Reads the field really well. But I would be super nervous about how much he's running the football. I
Yes,
do.
he's in that Baker and like Tebow mold where they're not afraid to take shots, not afraid to go after people, but he kind of is the focal point of the offense. He is taking a lot of I wouldn't say unnecessary hits, but he doesn't avoid contact, and that cannot hold up over a 12-game season, especially in the SEC.
Definitely won't in the NFL, and even this year in the SEC. You're right. I mean, they better have a backup that is more than capable if they're going to win any important games, or they're going to have to change their mind. Now, against Michigan, I get it. You got everything's on the line. It's at home, whatever. Against Temple, watch that. If you're a Sooner fan, watch that. How many hits is he taking that either are unnecessary, that he needs to do a better job of avoiding contact, or frankly, the coaching staff doesn't need to be running read options when they're up 3 touchdowns. He does not need to have the option to run the football when they're up 3 touchdowns. They need to figure out how to run block. They need to run for over 150 yards in this game. They don't run for Temple
with someone other than Mateer.
Yeah, you don't count 1 yard from him. Everything else, be able to line up, lean forward on a team that has been bad the last couple of years, really bad last year. They beat a couple of bad teams this year, probably a little better, should not pose a threat, especially in the trenches. That's the deal about the SEC. We talked about this going back years ago. If you're going to win in the SEC, you have to at least win the line of scrimmage some. And you have to win it all the time against these type teams. You can't go up and be 2nd and 12 because you're getting your double team's getting split. You're getting a drop for a loss. So watch that if you're a Sooner fan. But John Mateer's the real deal. To me, it was like playing a good team with one arm tied behind their back. The freshman was overwhelmed by the moment early on in the game, yelling at teammates, throwing off his back foot, throwing high, throwing early. He absolutely was consumed by what he was in the middle of. Didn't see that in high school. Just because a kid's making a couple $1,000,000 a year or whatever he's making and is swagging around with a good-looking chain on and peacocking like he's the next Heisman Trophy winner doesn't mean he's going to just naturally be able to handle 80,000 screaming hillbillies that have been lathered up since noon and handle. And he didn't handle it. He literally, watch his technique. I promise you that's what they're going to film. Dude, you're throwing off your back foot when you don't have to. You're throwing high. You're not accurate. All those things. He will be better at home going forward. And frankly, in that situation down the road, he's a young kid. So they're just going to be good, not great. Ohio State's absolutely. If you want to bet a team to win the Big Ten, I'm not a big believer in that, but Ohio State, Oregon are absolutely the class of that. And I
1A for sure.
Yeah, and I do give Oregon a lot of credit for not just that they dominated Oklahoma State, who I don't think is very good. And Mike Gundy's complaining about everything, other than the fact they can't stop anybody. But Oregon, the way they did it and the way early they did it, they are executing. They're winning up front a lot. So that's going to be a great clash at some point down the line. So FatJackSports.com, get signed up today and win this week. And we look ahead to this week, Brandon. What are we looking at? I mean, we've got
Georgia, Tennessee is going to be a huge one in Knoxville. A very big litmus test for both of those teams to really kind of prove that they belong in that conversation. And you talked about South Florida. I mean, upset in week 1, to beat Boise is not nothing to not brag about. But then to go into the swamp and beat Florida, now you got to turn around and play Miami on the road. I mean, we're going to find out a lot more about Miami, I think, than we are about South Florida. But Texas A&M Notre Dame, another great game that's going to be a very big litmus test in week 3.
Yeah, South Florida right now, and I saw this online, but I would throw South Florida and Oklahoma actually in the same category, that they are really the crazy person in your town. They're the guy that needs medication. They're the crazy person that everybody's got an opinion on them.
And everybody knows their name but doesn't know the backstory.
You're not exactly sure what they are or what's going to happen, but you absolutely don't want to be locked in a closet with them.
And you definitely want to you want to keep an eye on them because you want to make sure that they're not going to just come up from the side or behind you at any given point. So keep them in front of you. But
we're on the crazy person more than we are the teams. But you're
yes.
The point's still the truth. I'm with you. I don't want the crazy person. Crazy's probably like midget. We're not supposed to say it. I don't know what it is, but the crazy human being that's whatever the guy that's unpredictable.
You don't want
in your town.
And you know exactly who we're talking about.
3-hat Willie, from the back in the day, the Glove Man. Remember those guys? Those are old school.
Yeah.
Norman, Oklahoma, back in the day. Three Hat Willie, the Glove Man. Those guys.
I forgot about Glove Man.
Right? The guy's wearing one glove around like he's Michael Jackson, just waiting to stab somebody with something. So, yeah, those guys, by the way, all probably inappropriate. Those type guys, you don't want to be locked in a closet. That's who Oklahoma is to me right now.
Mm-hmm.
You're not exactly sure who they are, but let's not lock yourself in. You don't want to play them. You definitely don't want to play them. South Florida, same deal. We don't know exactly what they are. They absolutely could have caught Boise at the right time. Definitely Florida was in a letdown spot. You know, Florida has a big game coming up this week at LSU, and now they've lost. So that they really that's a bad loss for them. But South Florida, if they go lose to Miami, I still don't think we know exactly who they are. It's no shame in going to South Florida from South Florida and losing to Miami after beating Florida and after beating Boise, two ranked teams. This would be, if this team wins again, I'm gonna look like a genius because the over 5.5.
It might hit. I mean, you might hit that over before Halloween. That's good stuff.
It won't be as good as what BYU was last year. They were only like 2.5. We were over by 3, but still pretty good call on how good South Florida is going to be this year from the defensive side. Their coaches were losing their mind afterwards. So yeah, South Florida going to Miami, Florida going to LSU. Was that just a letdown spot that they're playing a better team than they need to be able to let down, or do they have bigger problems? That coach is he going to survive? Because that's a bad loss to South Florida just on paper. Now they go to the Swamp where they may lose by 30 if they don't get it back. You could kind of see the rest of Florida taking on Florida State's role from last year, where if they get lost last week, weren't supposed to get blown out this week, this team, it may get away from them. So I do think it's a big week for them.
Speaking of Florida State and what they were last year, Kansas State on a similar trajectory. That's a team goes to Ireland, gets a win, and then comes back and completely forgets how to play football.
I will tell. I didn't bring up. I should have brought that up. I didn't even write it down. I will write it down because I feel like we talk about the good with the service, the bad with the service last week were the free picks. And Kansas State, if you follow us on social media, you were 3-0 with 3 easy winners heading into this week. And one of the free picks was Kansas State. I felt like I had seen Army. Brandon, we released Army versus Tarleton State the Friday before, and Army was getting dominated up front. I felt like just from a line of scrimmage standpoint that Kansas State would be able to beat them and actually cover 17 pretty easy. Didn't release them. They're not one of our plays, but they were definitely, I thought, much better than Army, having a lot more to do with what Army wasn't than I thought what Kansas State was. But what's going on there? I mean, how are they even having a conversation in the locker room? They lost. That's a horrible loss. Army's not good this year. So, bad for them. I don't know how you tied the boat there. It's not as bad as what Florida State was because the expectations for Florida State were so much higher. There's a lot more money involved down there that will leave the program.
And to my knowledge, there hasn't been a guy who said he would eat dog poop if they lost that game.
Yeah, not yet. Yeah, actually, I did see somebody that said if they lose to him, he'll enlist. So I think.
Yes, you're right. There was a guy who tweeted that if Kansas State were to lose to Army, that he would enlist and sign up to be go to West Point.
He's not going. Nobody's taking him at West
No
Point. My God, if you're even questioning whether to sign, you don't sign up to go to West Point. You don't know what West Point is. If you think you can sign up and go to West, they'll send you to Lawton, Oklahoma.
They'll send you to a recruitment office at a strip mall.
And then you'll end up in Lawton, Oklahoma, which is worse than that. You get to go to the strip mall and then run. I used to live by one of those. They'd show up. Second day, they're running 5 miles or whatever out of the strip mall. And that was like, God, please. I would pray, please do not let me end up there. I didn't even realize that's not the worst part of their month. They're all going to Fort Sill. In Lawton, Oklahoma. The abyss of talk to somebody that's been, it'll change you.
That's the armpit of America.
That's like Jodie Foster and The Accused. I mean, you're not the same version after.
You're never the same
as you were before you walked into that bar. You go down to Fort Sill for a while, spend your time down there. You're a changed person when you come out of there. I had a relative once went down there. They couldn't even look me in the eye afterwards.
I've spent a total of maybe 18 hours of my adult life in Lawton, Oklahoma. I haven't changed. But I feel like you get to 24 hours, by all means.
You go to Fort Sill, it'll change you. Just like Jodie Foster and The Accused, I'm telling you. Let's give away a free winner and let's take a break. You want to?
Absolutely.
Go to fatjacksports.com while we're doing this. I was going to look at there's a Thursday game that would be a good free winner. It was that K-State Arizona game, Thursday or Friday, whatever. But I'm not going to subject people to that. A lot of people listen to this after the fact.
Mm-hmm.
What
about Backyard Brawl? Yeah, Pitt, West Virginia.
Yeah, I'm gonna. You know what? I'm releasing that game, so no, we don't get to go.
Okay.
As a free winner.
Okay.
Yeah. And I don't even want to go there because let's look at Georgia, Tennessee. I'm not going to release Georgia, Tennessee. And I do think that were you surprised at all that Georgia came as almost a touchdown favorite? I think Tennessee's obviously looked really good.
Yeah.
And Georgia hasn't been covering games. I mean, they're 1-5 against the spread their last 6. They beat Tennessee they're 6-0 their last 6 versus Vols, but so the Vols aren't winning, but they are covering. They're 4-1 against the spread their last 5. Were you surprised it came that high? Or you think that's about right?
I honestly think it's about right. I think what we saw in week 1 against Syracuse was that Tennessee, while can be very engaging offensively, I think they have questions defensively, and I feel as if Georgia is good enough to be able to score points on just about anybody that they're going to come across. But going to Neyland Stadium, when was the last time Tennessee was a touchdown underdog at home?
Probably the last time they played Alabama or
Georgia
at home. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, there's a lot of those teams in high school and in college, the lower divisions that they're going to go at this point where they are. They're going to beat the bad teams.
Mm-hmm.
But until they get over the hump against the good teams, that becomes a problem. I would say this, Brandon. I think they're catching Georgia at as good a time as you can. Now, you'd say, well, both these teams will improve through the year. But Georgia hasn't played anybody. We don't know exactly what they are. We're still looking at the name on the front of the jersey with Georgia,
sure.
And that's what got us in trouble with Alabama, right? I mean, Alabama, we're looking at the name. They go down.
Not us, but.
Not us. Yeah, we had Florida State. We were on the right side, but the average guy.
The general public,
out there playing Alabama on the name on the front, not caring who's on the back, and now look where it got you. So I think you catch them early in the year. You're getting an easier version at home than you will be later in the year if you get Georgia at home.
I would much rather play Georgia in September than November.
Yeah, exactly. Every team that's good, that pretty much goes for. But Tennessee, because they're getting better quarterback play than maybe a lot of people thought they might. And by the way, the unluckiest person in the world still the kid that went from Tennessee to UCLA. Maybe one of the luckier ones, we'll find out after Saturday, the kid that went from UCLA to Tennessee. I mean, if they go beat Georgia at home, everybody's going to care about the Vols and who's running that offense. So I think there's a lot of points in this game. 6 of the last 6 Tennessee games have gone over the total. 9 of the last 13 in the series have gone over the total. The total's sitting about 50. Your first free winner over the total in the Tennessee-Georgia game. FatJackSports.com. Guys, stop guessing. We were 6-0 last Saturday. We were 9-4 on the week. Everybody won again. And that's not after a bad week. Week 1 we won. Went 7-3 with football. We were 13-2. Week 0 that Saturday. Everybody's winning. That's a part of the service. The only people not turning a profit are those that are not signed up and not getting all the plays. Get all the plays and you won't be sending me stupid emails like, what happened Sunday when we lost a unit? After going 6-0 on Saturday. You don't care what happened Sunday because you understand there's losing days in sports gambling. But we're going to win a lot more than we lose. Jump on board today. FatJackSports.com. $3.99 football through the end of the month. $5.99 everything through the end of the month. The longer packages save you even more. Get through the Super Bowl. Get all the plays. You're going to win. Players, props, NFL, soccer, UFC, all of it through the end of the year. About $120 a week. FatJackSports.com. Get signed up today and win. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back. We're going to turn the page a little bit. Go to the NFL because it was week 1 in the NFL. Lots of storylines, lots of things happen. Get Brandon's thoughts on that and much more. You're listening to the Fat Jack Sports Hour.
Hey guys, this is the Fat Jack. Are you finally ready to get a better plan betting the games this year? Let me help. Go to FatJackSports.com where we understand that it's not the gambling she hates, it's the losing. FatJackSports.com.
If you want to stay in touch with everything related to the Fat Jack, follow us on all the socials. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, you name it, we are there at Fat Jack Sports. You can also watch the Fat Jack Sports Hour on YouTube every week. Get free winners and tips on how to become a better sports bettor. Plus, see Jack's appearances on the nationally syndicated TV show Beat the Odds. Stay connected with the Fat Jack Sports service at Fat Jack Sports on all the socials and on YouTube.
Back out to Allen. His before the ball is tipped or a shot is even taken, before the crowd explodes or history is made. If you're going to bet, have a game plan. Bet legally, set limits, and keep it fun. When gambling becomes a problem, visit responsibleplay.org to find help.
Welcome back to the Fat Jack Sports Hour, and now here is our host, a man who is guiding us through week number 2 of the NFL slate. He is the Fat Jack.
Thank you, Brandon, so much. Fat Jack Sports Hour, segment number 2. Turning the page. It's funny. It's one weekend. We've done nothing. 1 week in the NFL. We've done nothing but win. Week 0, week 1, now into week 2, and I'm
NFL preseason.
And preseason. Everything. I mean, it's all, and I'm still getting stupid emails from stupid people. I've set it up to where I should not even be getting emails or reading emails, yet they figure out a way to write stupid things. And then I cannot be nice, and the next thing you know, I turn somebody that was just killing time
and just voicing frustration,
like I'm an emotional tampon, like I'm here for that, like I care.
That's.
That I'm here to consume all of his frustration and makes no sense. So FatJackSports.com, get signed up, win with the rest of us, and don't, email the customer service. Brandon will be so much nicer, even if your question is stupid. What'd you take away from week 1, Brandon?
A lot of confirmation for me believing what certain teams are and can be. Chiefs, Chargers. Like, I firmly believe both those offenses are going to be good. We saw pockets of time where they were spectacular. I thought that the Steelers were going to be much better offensively. That confirmed. I thought the Lions were going to have a down year. Had that confirmed. Ravens, Bills. Yeah, we knew they're good. Had that confirmed. Conversely, pretty much assured that the Giants were going to be terrible, and they did not look great. The Dolphins, I was convinced were probably going to be down. Yeah. But a few surprises. I did not see the Colts scoring on 7 straight possessions. If you're Daniel Jones, you have to feel good. And if you are a New York Giants fan, seeing what he did in week 1 in a new program in a new city has to make you feel that much worse about your program right now.
I mean, I don't want to look at the Giants and call them Cleveland, but
that might be an insult to Cleveland at this point.
Yeah, honestly, I'm looking at the Giants, and you might have the head coach needs to probably start looking for a realtor there, because the better Daniel Jones plays, the worse he's going to look. Because there are some clubs that they do not get it done consistently with players, and then the players go elsewhere and they play pretty well. The Jets at quarterback are turned into that a little bit. Aaron Rodgers looked great; they scored 30. Now, I will tell you this, Brandon. I released, people who follow us, they know that I released long shots to make the playoffs and possibly win the Super Bowl that we can hedge out later. All 3 of my teams that I released won. I released the Rams, I released Tampa, and I released Pittsburgh. I certainly would not put any of those teams anywhere near the category of Baltimore and or Buffalo and or Kansas City for that matter. I'm okay. Kansas City is absolutely, I think, going to take a step back, but because they go and lose one game, I don't think this is a 7 or 8 win team. And by the way, we did play under their win totals, so I expected them to lose some. By the way, the win totals started off strong. I mean, in both college and the NFL, we look really, really good. Some of those swing games like that, if you're going to go
swung our way, yeah.
Yeah, if you're going to go under in the with the Kansas City Chiefs, you need them losing to the Chargers on the road in a close divisional game. It doesn't mean they're going to win 4 games. It just means that's not the worst thing that could have happened if you're playing under. Buffalo coming back was not good. I'm getting plus money for them to go under 11.5. Arizona won. Houston under 9.5. Look good. Cleveland under 5.5. They lost, so that was good on a close one. You want to be careful. Those close ones that they cover, you want them to lose. Detroit under 10.5. That was a preseason pick that went out. That's good.
The Rams over. They won.
Rams over 9.5. The Steelers over 8.5 at plus money. You want them winning spots exactly like that. I think people in Pittsburgh are happy with what happened. They feel like their defense will come around. I don't know if they're going to come around enough. They're certainly not to the caliber of the top tier guy, Philadelphia and Baltimore and Buffalo and those type teams. They're not to that level yet. What are the Chargers? I mean, is this a team that can make a deep run in the playoffs? Have they turned the corner? They certainly opened it up more offensively.
They did, which for a Harbaugh coach team, I did not really kind of have that on my bingo card because he wants to play, ball control, run the football, and I think they have come to realize that Justin Herbert is a top tier quarterback, and maybe didn't always have the pieces around him. Maybe it was a foundational belief in how they run their offense that didn't allow him to be the kind of quarterback he can be, but at least for a night, he looked pretty dang good.
Yeah, Chargers 5-1 against the spread their last 6 on the road. They go to Vegas this week. Another one of those teams that you look at and you're like, okay, all right, I see you. We had Las Vegas, so that was not surprising to us that they went on the road and won. They weren't getting but a field goal or so, and they end up winning the game straight up. But what's Vegas? You have Pete Carroll, the magic super sauce. It's not just Pete Carroll, by the way. They absolute improvement at quarterback. I think that quarterback is one of the more underrated players in the league. But how good is this team? Can they win 8-9 games, or are they just middle of the pack and taking a small step in the right direction?
I mean, they threw the ball a heck of a lot more in game 1 than they thought they were going to. But yeah, you're right. With Geno Smith, that is a massive upgrade from Aiden O'Connell. No offense to Aiden, but I feel like you asked about the Chargers. So many people were high on the Broncos as potentially being the team that could unseat the Chiefs in the West. Maybe it is the Chargers. Maybe it's the Raiders. We're going to find out this weekend, obviously, which one of these teams is quote unquote, for real. If the Raiders win this game, it's going to throw the sports media world of the NFL kind of into a tizzy, because you have the team that just beat the team that is, been in the Super Bowl 7 times, or at least in the AFC Championship game 7 years in a row.
You know what I have found that has been real consistent over the last probably 5 years or so? The quote-unquote sexy teams normally are not very sexy. They're that sexy person that when, they actually, you get them down in a bikini or something, that they've had some surgery and they got to buy, they're not as sexy as they were when you saw them at the mall walking around the first time. And Denver's kind of that. To me, they're the sexy team. Everybody liked them preseason. Everybody thought they were going to be great. Well, yeah, they're better. They're an easy pick preseason to be a lot better. Love the coach. Another year in the system, blah, blah, blah. All those things. They play in a division that they can win. They're going to, that shows a lot of improvement. But, they go to Indy this week, Brandon. Indy looked good. I mean, Denver 4-1 against the spread their last 5 against Indy, but they're going to Indy, who's basically sending totals over more times than not and has a newfound confidence offensively. They're over 6 of their last 9 games. So Denver had better bring that offense better travel, or this is going to be a 1-1 team, and then we're going to be asking who's Indy. The NFL there's so much parity. Every week you're going to get this. And by the way, if you're out there, why are they talking? Who gives a crap about Indy? Why are we not talking about Philly, Kansas City? We're going to talk about, but just sit there quietly for a second and get signed up at FatJackSports.com. We're going to get to Philly, Kansas City. We're not going to not talk about Philly, Kansas City. But I thought it was, to Brandon's point, what happened in week 1 and the overreaction to that, or the reaction to that, is important as far as making money goes. So I'm with you. This Vegas game, I don't love them in this spot, because I do think the Chargers went away in the offseason, and Harbaugh said to himself, who knows who told him, but we're going to go as far as our offense goes, and we're going to go as far as our quarterback goes on offense. Our defense is there, but we can't be super conservative. The question with the Chargers is going to be is when they get to the playoffs, does Harbaugh and that offensive staff revert back to what they like to do and go more conservative? Are they one of those teams that takes huge steps during the regular season? And I'm almost it's not just winning, it's how you win, honestly, for me. But I do think the Chargers are going the right direction. And I would probably play them here. I'm not going to release Las Vegas at home. Don't love the game. But I would probably play them to go on the road. I think Vegas is certainly better. I don't know that they're ready for this spot. But I don't think the Chargers are going to – I don't think we'd be placing future bets on them just yet to win it all. Interesting dynamic for sure. But those are just a few things from takeaway from week 1. Historically, week 1 through 3, underdogs of 5 points or more And by the way, dogs did really well.
On Sunday, they were 11-2.
11-2 against. Why do I have worse than that?
Oh, I'm sorry. Unders were 11-2.
I guess it ended 11-4, right? They were 11.
On Sunday it was 11-2.
11-2. So they're 11-4, I guess, overall, because it went over on Sunday night. That was one of them, and then the other two went over. Yeah, okay. So, but historically, you're going to get in weeks 1 through 3 underdogs of 5.5 points or more are going to do very, very well. 13-2 against the spread, 9-4 straight up. So if you're looking for that path, I talked about a lot of the markets around the country, that path toward winning picks, that if you're not going to get signed up, start on a winning path. Last week it was divisional underdogs at home. They about pushed. It wasn't a great trend, but it'll get you, historically speaking, on a good path to then be able to find something. So weeks 1 through 3, so this week and next week, especially since dogs were just about 500 last week, underdogs, and more specifically underdogs of 5.5 or more, really strong over week 3. Last week they did okay also. Last week we had Dallas getting a bunch of points they covered. We had Cleveland was actually only 4.5. Who were the other big dogs that covered last week?
The Falcons were covered. The Jets covered.
Those were smaller dogs. The other big dog was Denver. And Denver was giving a bunch of 8.5 to Tennessee, and they didn't. And Tennessee covered, right? They lost by 8.
Yep, lost by 8.
So the big dogs did really well in week 1, but in week 2, look that direction. So the bigger dogs going in week 2 that you might want to pay attention to: 5.5. Cincinnati. So it'd be Jacksonville in that spot. 5.5 point dog. You're looking at 5.5 point dogs or better. You look at Jacksonville. You're looking at let's look down through here. The Jets at home against Buffalo after their big win. New Orleans plus the points. Now, listen, these are never going to be fun to walk up to the window and play these trends, but 13-2 against the spread is fun. So just something to think about as we get into week 2. Are we doing okay on time? Let's talk about Philly, Kansas City. You want to take a break and come back and do that?
Philly, Kansas City is going to be an interesting game because it is a Super Bowl rematch. And you have probably a more rested team versus a team that played on another continent last week and lost. And Kansas City now, Jack, facing the very real chance of being 0-2 the year after going to a Super Bowl. There are tons of trends about teams who lose the Super Bowl who don't make it back the next year. I'll try and research this. When was the last time a Super Bowl loser started 0-2 and made the playoffs? I'm willing to bet it probably hasn't happened very often that a Super Bowl loser started the next season 0-2.
Well, we're getting into that who starts 0-2, what the percentages are, who starts 0-3, what the percentages are. Those will come up on this show
to make the playoffs, right?
Yeah, to make the playoffs, because there are some really strong numbers there. The loser in the Super Bowl not making the playoffs the next year used to be, it was like 8 of 10 years.
Automatic almost, yeah.
But lately it's not been that way. The teams have made it back. It's been over 500. They made it back. And I don't think Kansas City's done. The horrible break at the start of the game with the receiver running into Kelsey.
Yeah. That and then Worthy dislocates his shoulder. They had a number of issues early, but
they're going to be a fun team to watch. Having nothing to do with Taylor Swift, they're going to be a fun team to watch because they still have a lot of the pieces and a couple of the best players on the planet.
And I think one of the best play callers in the history of the game.
And a defense that really underperformed, but you would expect more. I mean, besides Jones screwing up at the end, which really was a lot more about people trying to show how smart they are with X's and O's than it was important to the game. I mean, he's got to keep outside contained, but come on, they
also pay him a lot of money to get to the quarterback.
Yeah, they created their problems well before he took an inside gap when he wasn't supposed to. So that team I think will come back. I think they are going to make the playoffs. I think they are going to win a lot of games, but this is not where you want to be. Thanks for the schedulers. Let's travel to Brazil and play.
And then 8 days later, play the defending Super Bowl champions.
Play the defending champs. So
who kicked the snot out of you 8 months ago.
Yeah. So things have just gotten real down in Kansas,
real quick
in Kansas City. So excited.
And speaking of schedules, how about the week 2 schedule? This is a very balanced. Like every game on this schedule, I think is sort of a like versus like situation where you have teams that perform pretty well in week 1 playing against each other. I mean, you get Washington, Green Bay, who both looked pretty good in their opener. Buffalo and the Jets, historically not a competitive game, but all of a sudden the Jets appear to be something.
Chargers,
Denver
Las
and Indy
Vegas
is good.
both look good.
Yeah.
You go up and down the schedule, you get a few of those mismatches. Carolina look bad. They're going to Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
That number should worry people. Carolina's 7-1 their last 8 against the spread in the series, so they will typically bounce back in this type of spot. We're going to have to find some underdogs here. So if you are that person that likes to watch TV and then bet what you saw, that is almost always a losing formula in week 2. So be very careful with that. But yeah, the Rams in Tennessee, it's another one that, Tennessee looked, I think, better than people thought. Now they're at home. You get these teams that are really going to do everything they can not to go 0-2. They're playing teams that have to travel to them in a couple of different spots. So Tampa Bay, Houston, that's going to be a really fun one. We're going to figure out what they are. Tampa Bay 14-5 against the spread. Their last 19 on the road. So been very good on the road. They are a small underdog there. Back to Philly, Kansas City. Philly 10-4 against the spread their last 14 games. Kansas City, we talked about this last week, not covering a bunch of games.
Mm-hmm.
They're 1-4 against the spread their last 5 games, but this is a team that doesn't lose at Arrowhead. And we only have a couple of different times, maybe one time, that Mahomes has ever been an underdog at Arrowhead.
And when was the last time Patrick Mahomes lost 3 games in a row?
Yeah, and of course, when you're doing the jump into the new season,
Sure.
There's a little bit of an asterisk there. But this is not a dude. And I saw last week like everybody else, but Patrick Mahomes 11-4 against the spread as an underdog, and almost all of those are on the road. So if Kansas City's anything what we think they're going to be, it's super tough to go beat this team at home, and I don't care if you are the Super Bowl champs or not. So, and let's not forget, Brandon, Philly played Dallas. All right, they did not play. This is a Dallas team that just traded away their best defensive player. We don't think they can stop anybody. Yes, they were competitive on the road during a lightning storm and all that kind of stuff. But if Dallas goes out this week and the Giants go beat them, Dallas only a 3-point favorite at home against the Giants. Giants are 2-11 against the spread their last 30. Why are they only getting 3 points? If Dallas has gotten, if they're anything, why is this number not 4.5 or 5.5? I mean, this should be more.
If the sports books believed Dallas is a good or maybe a better team than they perceive because of how they played in that first half against Philadelphia, they should be a lot larger favorite at home against a team who was dog crap last week.
Yeah, so you can look a little bit deeper, and if we see the Giants go and be competitive and cover and or win at Dallas, then we're like, okay, what's that Philly win? What is that actually? Things get a little more interesting on that side of the in that conference because Kansas City probably beats them at home unless they go and play really, really well or Kansas City turns the ball. I'm just saying that you can't overvalue what you saw in week 1 too much. Be careful, look at all the facts, and more importantly, go to fatjacksports.com and get signed up. Less than $100 a week to win. You can win just this weekend for about $169 for football, $199 or so for the soccer, for the UFC, for the players props, all that through Monday for under a couple $100. Or the longer packages save you a ton of money, less than $100 a week for just football. Much less when you go through the Super Bowl. You get you can add in all those other sports for about $140 total a week when you go the longer packages. Stop guessing. We were 9-4 last week, including 6-0 on Saturday. Go to fatjacksports.com, sign up, and win. The kid from Oklahoma, you watched Game Day last week. I just want to give a shout out to this dude because you want to talk about one of the biggest upsets of last week. Was Jack, the freshman at Oklahoma, 9 different splotchy ways of, just so nervous. We're talking about Game Day. They kicked the field goal for $100,000.
Yeah, Pat McAfee giving away money. Yeah,
giving away money. They pull this kid out. You line up, you get a ticket. 300 people draw a ticket. They draw this kid out. He's got cleats on that look like they played in the 1948 Super Bowl or whatever. I mean, he's got these cleats that he clearly hasn't worn since JV. They asked the dude, have you ever kicked before? He says, yeah, I kicked in a JV game once. It was horrible. He's a freshman at OU. He's just looked like the most non-athletic dude. McAfee makes it $200,000 for him to make this thing. And this kid looked like Uwe von Schamann as he went through the ball. It only went over the thing by about a foot, but just one of the highlights of my entire Saturday. I knew it was going to go 6-0, Brandon, because he did that. I just could tell. We had under in the OU game. We didn't have a side, but I knew I was going to have a good day because my emotional, visceral response to this jackass knocking down a 30-yard field goal with
a left-footed kicker at that.
So ridiculous. The whole thing was just shake your head fun. But that's a great feature, by the way. Are you loosening up to today, Portnoy, or did you even Iowa State's hard to get excited about? Did you go over there at all or no?
I don't even entertain Fox's pregame show. I forget it exists on purpose.
Yeah, it's they're going to need a better matchup for me. And Portnoy's going to have to do more than just be a villain and talk about Michigan for sure. So we will.
I mean, it's his only shtick at this point. That's his. That's the only thing. The only arrow in his quiver.
Well, we're going to find out. Fat Jack Sports Hour, because he's going to have to extend that. I think people understand that that's not going to be. There won't be a lot of longevity in that. So, Fat Jack Sports Hour, fatjacksports.com. Get signed up today. Less than $100 a week. All the plays. 6-0 last Saturday. We were 8-1 going into Sunday. Had a small losing Sunday last week. Everybody won as long as you're getting all the picks. Put yourself in that group. Go to the results tab. Check the results tab. You'll see all the plays that everybody gets in football, and you're going to make money if you follow the system. All right, Brandon, what do you want to talk about? Did you talk about the lottery?
Yeah, so I won $8 on the lottery this weekend, which, I mean, the Powerball was up to like 1.5 billion or something like that. Had to take a chance. You are probably not in a what I would call a normal person situation like this, but if you were to come into that kind of money, what would be the thing that you would do first? What would be the thing that you bought?
I talked about that with my daughter, and she told me that she was excited about that because she was going to open a charity thing. I really don't know that I would do anything, Brandon. I thought about that. I don't even know. I would travel a little bit. I don't even know. The question would be, how long would I do this job?
Yeah, and for a lot of people, it would be hey, I'm not coming to. I would call in sick until I ran out of sick time. But yeah, I was curious what you would do in that situation.
I'll be just totally honest with you. I live a really good life, and I don't really want.
That's what I said. You're not in the normal category.
Yeah, I don't really want a lot. I mean, I make a lot of money betting on sports, and I have this service is fun. I would take I would not allow an email to come to me of any kind. I may do that anyway.
Not even like a personal email. Like you buy something from Amazon and you get a confirmation email. You want out of that.
I want out of all of it. I would have basically somebody to handle every single email. I might be that dude that's walking around with a flip phone or something.
Try and go off the grid as much as possible, but still be connected.
Stuff. I just don't want to. I don't want to deal with jackasses. I don't want to have to listen to somebody ask me what happened Sunday when I went 6-0 Saturday. We were 9-4 after 2 huge weeks before. I don't want him to have access to me on any way. So I would do away with that. But I mean, that's really a stupid thing. But I don't, other than that, Brandon, I don't want a whole lot. I love my life. I'm very happy with my wife. My kids are, I would make their life better. And honestly, neither of them need a better life. I did tell Karen this, there would be people in my life that would benefit so much that have no idea they would benefit.
Yep. I am the same way. I have a Google spreadsheet that breaks down like how much I have allocated to certain things. There's go away money. Like here's X amount, here's $100,000. I never want to see you again. But there's also like, I'm setting up like, basically a almost like a blank check that I'm just going to send to like 5, 6, 7, 8 people, friends of mine. Anytime you need anything, hey, your fridge breaks, boom, I got you. You get your transmission blows, hey, boom, I got you. You don't even have to ask. Just here's the card, use it. I don't care.
I've allowed I've allowed few people into my inner circle through the years. I have a lot of friends, a lot of guys I really like and admire. But to be on the inside, there's very few. And none of them would work if I hit the Powerball, unless I wanted to. I would give them enough money, no strings attached, that I have 7 or 8 people. And by the way, you can save this recording for if I hit the billionaire. You get $1 million within the end of the week. You would. How do you? Tell me somebody I know hit the Powerball without telling me. I had $1 million show up in the bank account for no reason.
Just out of the blue
Just
one
out
day,
of the blue. And I've got about 10 of those people, maybe 15, 10, about 10 people that I would write a check to, and I would, here, go enjoy it. Don't ask me for another dime, please. But here's $1 million.
This is the limit.
This is it. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. There's no 5 or 10,000. Here's $1 million. I love you. I appreciate what you've done in my life. Have some fun. Do what you want. And I got about 10 people I'd do that for. So there would be people that are on that list that don't know they're on that list. A lot. You might, if you were laying in bed with Jamie and I hit the Powerball, you might say, you know what? We got a shot here. I know Jack pretty well. You'd start handicapping that bad boy. You'd be like, we got a shot.
We might be minus 120 favorites
He's
here.
just off-putting enough that we might be in that intersection. We've been around for decades, and we don't see him a ton. But we might have. Yeah, I'll just tell you, you're on the inside. And there's a few other people like that. I don't think they would realize that they are as important to me as they are. And so that would be the most fun thing for me, is figuring out how to make other people's. Other than that, I really don't know that I'd change. I don't know that I'd move. I like my house here. I might move. I might buy the house next to me that's under construction and tell everybody to go away and just leave it half finished for a while. But other than just some stupid things like that, I don't know that I'd do a whole lot. So what would you do? Anything special? We got to get out of here. But
I'm buying a place in Vegas just because, and I would probably move to Vegas full time. But I would also have another place in Vegas where, like, anytime any of the friends came to town, hey, you got a place to stay. You don't even have to ask. It's there for the taking. A lot of travel, and definitely would do some fun donations to the schools. I would also make sure that no kid has to worry about their school lunch debt.
Yeah, and random acts of kindness would become a new thing. I do a lot
daily,
of it anyway,
a daily thing.
But yeah, just bringing some joy to people. That would be great. Hopefully, whoever won, congratulations on the 1.7 or whatever. Hopefully, that's your mindset, and you guys do that as well. Let's give away a free. I know we're out of time, but let's give away another free winner, because this segment has not had that much. We're talking about underdogs, 13-2 against the spread, especially 5.5 or more. Jacksonville's absolutely that subset. That is the subset that was built on that stat. Is Jacksonville this week against Cincinnati? As of taping, 5.5 point underdog. They're 14-7 against the spread. Their last 21 on the road. Obviously, Trevor Lawrence looked a lot better. Bad opponent, but looked good. We're able to still score points after the Lightning stuff. So that's that type of spot. Similar to Cleveland last week, you could see them covering and not winning. So Jacksonville, that would be your second or third, whatever, free winner of the week. Go to fatjacksports.com, get signed up, make a lot of money this year betting on sports. We've had a great start to the year. We're going to keep that up this week and beyond. Any final thoughts, Brandon?
I'm going to Philadelphia this weekend, going to OU Temple at noon, and then right across the street at 6:00, Phillies Royals. So a nice little doubleheader. And I really hope that I come away from this trip with a slightly improved opinion of Philadelphia as a whole. I don't like the chances.
It's going to be so difficult. I want Philly to do well, but I'll just tell you, Brandon, my son, who, by the way, will be at this game also, so look for him, with his wife. They are opening. They have like 10 these candy stores. They're opening one in Philly. It is by far, besides the fact that they had like a shooting out, they're in the nicest part of Philadelphia. They were on TV, Eyewitness News or whatever, for having a stabbing or something next door. Somebody sent them. And they the permits have been ridiculous to get through as well. So I'm with you. Don't love Philadelphia. Have very few good things to say about it, hoping that you come back and say, you know what, that wasn't all bad. The Philly cheesesteak weren't the only thing I enjoyed. So,
I learned from your previous experiences in Philadelphia, I've bought tickets directly through the teams, not buying from a scalper.
You can't, but scalping is almost dead because everything's electronic. But if there's one place in the world you don't want to do that, it is Philadelphia. Those people, if you see my son, he will tell you stories with specific names and likenesses of the only time we've been cheated by a scalper, and it was in Philadelphia at a Sweet 16 game way back when. So, guys, have a great week. Enjoy all the football. Get signed up at fatjacksports.com. Wager responsibly. Certainly don't drink and drive. Have a great weekend until next week. For Brandon the Fat Jack, this has been the Fat Jack Sports Hour.